The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
So Obama's been bouncing around the Middle East, talking to Israelis, talking to the Palestinians. Next he's going to Jordan. Maybe he'll visit his pal Morsi in Cairo. I don't know. But there was one phrase he said today at the Jerusalem Convention Center, which was particularly interesting to me and our friend Aaron Klein, who hosts a radio show on WABC on the weekends and writes for WorldNet Daily. I want you to listen to this audio that we've captured of Obama in Jerusalem today. Cut 16, Mr. Producer. Go.
Remember this. Israel is the most powerful country in this region. Israel has the unshakable support of the most powerful country in the world. Israel's not going anywhere. Israel has the wisdom to see the world as it is, but this is in your nature. Israel also has the courage to see the world as it should be.
Wow. Where have we heard that phraseology before? Israel has the wisdom to see the world as it is, and Israel has the courage to see the world as it should be. Well, Aaron Klein picked up on this, as did I, but I want to give him kudos here. And he says, one of Saul Alinsky's major themes was working with the world as it is to turn it into the world as it should be. Quote, unquote. Let me repeat that for slow listeners out there. Alinsky, major themes. Working with the world as it is to turn it into the world as it should be. In his defining work, Rules for Radicals, which he dedicated to the first rebel, Lucifer, Alinsky used those words to lay out his main agenda. He asserted radical change must be brought about by working within a system instead of attacking it from the outside. Quote, it is necessary to begin where the world is if we're going to change it to what we think it should be. That means working in the system, wrote Alinsky. Obama related his Alinsky quote to a suggestion that peace begins with the people and not just the leadership, a statement some may relate to community organizing. He further suggested Israelis do an end run around the country's leadership and, quote, create the change that you want to see, unquote. The president said, that's where peace begins, not just in the plans of leaders, but in the hearts of people. Not just in a carefully designed process, but in the daily connections that take place among those who live together in this land and in this sacred city of Jerusalem. I wonder, Rules for Radicals, has that been published in Hebrew? Has it been published in Arabic? Because I'm sure Obama would like to export his ideology. Obama continued, speaking as a politician, I can promise you this. Political leaders will not take risks if the people do not demand that they do. You must create the change that you want to see. It's not the first time Obama used the Alinsky phraseology of the world as it is versus how it should be. In a May 2011 speech, Obama said, there must be no doubt the United States of America welcomes change that advances self-determination and opportunity. Yes, there will be perils that accompany this moment of promise. But after decades of accepting the world as it is in the region, we have a chance to pursue the world as it should be. And apparently he uses this phrase all the time. Now, let's step back. What does this mean? See the world as it is, but see the world as it should be. What does that mean? How should the world be? This runs completely counter to our founding. What do you mean, Mark? It runs completely counter to our founding. It runs completely counter to one of the primary bases for Western civilization. You see, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a matter of seeing the world as it is, but changing it to what it should be. We don't support change for change's sake. We don't support radical change. What we support is reform. We have to take the language back, and in taking the language back, we have to take clear thinking back. Edmund Burke, known to the founders, not particularly influential on the founders at the time, but known to the founders and one of the great statesmen in England at the end of the mid to late 1700s, and often considered one of the primary thinkers behind modern conservatism. Edmund Burke specifically differentiated between change and reform. And I've talked to you about this before, and it's in Liberty and Tyranny. Change is not what we seek. Reform is what we seek, because we do not seek to destroy our traditions, our belief systems. We do not seek to ignore experience. Obama today said, as you'll listen in a little later, the Palestinians deserve a country. I don't even know what that means. The Palestinians as a people, they were not in a particular area as a country. They certainly weren't in the area that is in Israel. They were Bedouins. Most of them were actually located in what is today Jordan. They weren't removed from their homeland. The Jews were pushed out of their homeland. And by the way, Christians were pushed out of their homeland. There's almost no Christians left in the Middle East, relatively speaking. Where is it written, and when did it happen, that Arabs and Muslims are the only people that have a right to live in the Middle East? When Judaism and Christianity, as well as Islam, but Judaism and Christianity, were born in the Middle East. Where is it written that they all have to leave? That the Jews can only live in a sliver of land? And even then we're told that it's illegitimate, that they took it from somebody else. Where did Saudi Arabia come from? Saudi Arabia's borders are less than 100 years old. Kuwait's borders are less than 100 years old. And I can go all around the Middle East, but that's not the point of this. Obama's a coward. Obama's a coward. Goes into the Middle East and quotes Alinsky. Why doesn't he go to the Middle East and quote James Madison? Why doesn't he go to the Middle East and quote Edmund Burke? Why doesn't he go to the Middle East and quote John Locke? Here's one for you. Why doesn't he quote Moses or Jesus? No, he quotes Saul Alinsky. What the hell is he doing there? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.